There's something happening right now that you can't quite put your finger on, but you feel it everywhere. In the way you wake up with a restlessness that won't settle. In how conversations that used to satisfy you now leave you feeling empty. In the way old dreams are knocking at your door again, louder this time, refusing to be ignored. You've been walking through your days like someone who's forgotten their own name, going through motions that feel increasingly foreign to who you're becoming. But here's what most people don't realize about this feeling. This isn't confusion. This isn't you losing your way or falling behind. This is the unmistakable frequency of preparation. Your soul is getting ready for something massive, and every uncomfortable sensation you've been experiencing is actually your internal system upgrading itself for what's about to unfold. You see, comebacks don't announce themselves with fanfare. They don't send you a calendar invitation or give you a heads up that your life is about to completely transform. They show up disguised as ordinary, Tuesday afternoons, when suddenly everything you thought you knew about yourself starts cracking open. They arrive in the space between who you've been pretending to be and who you actually are underneath all that performance. Right now, you're standing at the threshold of the biggest comeback of your life, not because someone told you that you deserve it, and not because you've finally earned it through years of struggle. You're here because you've developed something that most people spend their entire lives avoiding: the capacity to be completely honest about where you are without needing to defend how you got there. Think about the last few months of your existence. Haven't you noticed how nothing feels quite right anymore? How the routines that used to ground you now feel like prison cells? How the people who used to understand you now seem to be speaking a different language entirely? This isn't breakdown. This is breakthrough happening in slow motion. And most people miss it because they're expecting something that looks like the movies. Real transformation doesn't look impressive from the outside. It's messy and quiet and often feels like you're moving backwards when you're actually moving deeper. It's the strange experience of feeling completely lost and completely found at the exact same time. Like you're shedding skins you didn't even know you were wearing, while discovering muscles you forgot you had. Your comeback has been building beneath the surface for longer than you realize. Every time you chose truth over comfort, every time you said no when your entire nervous system was screaming at you to say yes, every time you sat with discomfort instead of numbing it with whatever distraction was closest. All of that was preparation for this moment when you finally stop asking permission to become who you've always been. But here's what nobody tells you about comebacks. They require you to disappoint people. Not because you want to hurt anyone, but because the version of you that's emerging won't fit into the boxes that others built to contain who you used to be. Some people are going to resist your evolution because it forces them to confront their own stagnation. Your growth becomes a mirror they don't want to look into. This is where most people turn back. They feel the resistance from others and interpret it as a sign that they're doing something wrong. They start apologizing for taking up space or dimming their light to make everyone else comfortable with their transformation. But your comeback isn't happening so you can make other people feel better about their choices. It's happening because you finally stopped betraying yourself to maintain relationships that were built on who you used to be. The energy you've been feeling, that restless dissatisfaction with everything that once felt normal, that's not anxiety. That's alignment trying to get your attention. Your system is recalibrating itself to operate at a frequency that matches who you're becoming instead of who you've been. And that recalibration always feels uncomfortable before it feels liberating. You're about to discover that everything you thought was wrong with you was actually just evidence that you were never meant to stay where everyone expected you to remain. That weird intensity that made you feel too much, that's going to become your superpower. That inability to settle for surface level connections, that's going to lead you to relationships that actually nourish your soul. That restlessness that wouldn't let you get comfortable in situations that were slowly draining you, that was your intuition keeping you available for what was actually meant for you. Your comeback isn't about proving anything to anyone who doubted you. It's not about showing up to make people feel sorry for how they treated you when you were figuring things out. It's about finally honoring the part of you that never stopped believing you were meant for more than just surviving. The part that kept whispering, even when everyone around you was telling you to be realistic about your limitations. There's been a quiet revolution happening inside you while you thought you were just trying to get through another day. You've been developing the capacity to choose yourself without needing external validation, to trust your own knowing even when it doesn't make sense to anyone else, to sit with uncertainty without collapsing into panic or control. These aren't small skills. These are the foundation of everything that's about to shift in your reality. Most people live their entire lives waiting for someone else to give them permission to want what they want. They spend decades trying to earn the right to take up space or speak their truth or pursue what actually lights them up inside. But you've been secretly developing something much more powerful than permission from others. You've been cultivating permission from yourself. And that changes everything. When you stop needing other people to validate your dreams before you're allowed to pursue them, when you stop requiring approval for your boundaries before you're willing to set them, when you stop seeking consensus for your truth before you're brave enough to speak it, that's when your comeback stops being a possibility and starts being inevitable. The person you're becoming has been waiting patiently for you to stop performing, for an audience that was never really paying attention anyway. They've been watching you exhaust yourself, trying to be everything to everyone while secretly hoping you'd finally choose to be everything to yourself. Not in a selfish way, but in a way that honors the fact that you can't give what you don't have. Your comeback is going to look different than anyone expects because it's not about returning to who you used to be. It's about finally becoming who you've always been underneath all the conditioning and expectations and fears that convinced you to stay small. It's about remembering that you were never meant to just cope your way through this existence. You were designed to create, to impact, to transform, not just your own life, but the lives of everyone who gets to witness you operating at your full capacity. Right now, in this very moment, your comeback is already in motion. Not because you've figured everything out or because you feel completely ready, but because you finally stopped waiting for perfect conditions to honor what's been true about you all along. You're done settling for almost. You're done accepting good enough when you know you're capable of extraordinary. You're done shrinking to make others comfortable when your expansion is exactly what the world needs from you. The strangest part about your comeback is how it's going to feel effortless once you stop fighting it. All those years you spent forcing things that weren't meant for you, pushing doors that were meant to stay closed, convincing people who weren't ready to see you. That struggle wasn't preparation for more struggle. It was teaching you to recognize the difference between what requires force and what flows naturally when you're aligned with your true path. You're about to enter a phase where opportunities don't feel like battles you have to win, where relationships don't feel like puzzles you have to solve, where success doesn't feel like something you have to chase because it starts chasing you instead. Not because the universe suddenly decided to cut you some slack, but because you've finally learned to operate from a place of authentic power instead of desperate need. This is what happens when you stop trying to convince the world you're worthy and start living like you already know you are. The energy you use to waste on justification becomes available for creation. The mental space you use to occupy with worry about what others think becomes free for vision and possibility. The emotional bandwidth you use to spend on managing other people's reactions to your choices becomes yours to invest in actually living your life. Your comeback's going to confuse people who knew you before. They're going to ask what changed, what you're doing differently, what program you're following. And you're going to struggle to give them an answer because breakthrough can't be packaged into steps or reduced to a system. It's not something you do, it's something you become through the accumulated weight of choosing yourself in moments when choosing yourself felt impossible. But here's what you'll start to notice. The people who are meant to be part of your comeback story will recognize what's happening before you even tell them. They'll see the shift in your energy, the way you carry yourself differently, the way you speak from a deeper place of certainty. These people won't need you to explain your transformation because they'll be celebrating it before you've even fully claimed it yourself. And then there are the others, the ones who preferred you when you were struggling because your pain made them feel better about their own stuck situations. The ones who offered advice not to help you grow, but to keep you dependent on their opinions. The ones who celebrated your small wins but got uncomfortable when you started playing a bigger game. These people are going to resist your comeback, and that resistance is going to tell you everything you need to know about who belongs in your next chapter. Your comeback isn't happening to prove anything to these people. It's happening despite them. It's your soul's way of saying that you've outgrown the need for approval from anyone who isn't genuinely invested in seeing you thrive. You've developed the internal strength to disappoint people who were only comfortable with the limited version of yourself. Something shifts when you realize that your comeback was never about getting back to where you were. It was about discovering where you were always meant to be. All those detours and delays and what felt like failures weren't obstacles to your destiny. They were the exact experiences you needed to develop the wisdom and resilience and depth that make you capable of handling what's coming next. You're not the same person who got knocked down. You're not even the same person who started fighting to get back up. You're someone entirely new, forged in the fire of your own transformation, equipped with insights that can only be earned through the journey you've taken. Your comeback isn't a return. It's a revelation of who you've become in the process of refusing to stay down. The timing of your comeback isn't random. It's arriving now because you've finally developed the internal infrastructure to support what you've been asking for. Those prayers you whispered in your darkest moments, those dreams you held onto when everyone told you to be realistic, those visions that kept you going when giving up would have been easier. Your system is finally strong enough to handle having all of that become your reality. You're about to discover that everything you went through was preparing you for this exact moment. Not just the struggles and the setbacks, but also the small victories that nobody noticed, the quiet moments when you chose hope over cynicism, the times you helped someone else when you barely had enough energy for yourself, the way you kept showing up even when showing up felt pointless. All of it was building toward this. Your comeback is going to ripple out in ways you can't imagine, not because you're trying to inspire anyone, but because authenticity is contagious. When you finally stop performing and start being, when you stop seeking and start creating, when you stop waiting and start living, you give everyone around you permission to do the same. Your breakthrough becomes a doorway that others can walk through too. This is why your comeback matters beyond just your own life. This is why you couldn't stay down even when staying down felt easier. This is why something inside you kept insisting that you were meant for more than just surviving, because your full expression isn't just a gift to yourself. It's a gift to everyone who gets to witness what's possible when someone finally stops betraying their own potential. Right now, as you're reading this, your comeback is accelerating. Every word that resonates is confirmation that you're ready for what's next. Every moment of recognition is evidence that you've already started becoming the person who lives the life you've been dreaming about. Your comeback isn't coming, it's here. So here you are, standing in the middle of your own renaissance, and maybe for the first time in years, you can actually feel it. That restlessness that's been eating at you, that's not chaos. That's clarity breaking through the noise, that discomfort with everything that used to feel normal. That's growth happening in real time. Your comeback isn't something you're waiting for anymore. It's something you're living right now, in this moment, as you finally stop apologizing for taking up the space you were always meant to occupy. The person you're becoming has been here all along, just waiting for you to stop asking permission to meet them. This is your time. Not because you've earned it through suffering, but because you finally remembered what was true about you, before the world convinced you to forget your comeback is here. And honestly, it's about time you showed up for it.